As we grow older, our relationship with things begins to shift. Once it might have felt comforting to have more tools, more furniture, more backups just in case. But somewhere along the way, we realize that more often feels like too much. The piles in the closet, the crowded kitchen drawers, the gadgets and gizmos that promised convenience but now collect dust. After 60, life has its own rhythm, and we start craving space comfort and ease over clutter and chaos. Today, we'll take a gentle walk through the 22 common things many of us continue to buy but no longer need. This isn't about deprivation. It's about choosing peace over piles and joy over junk. Let's explore together what's truly worth keeping and what we can finally let go of. Walk into almost any kitchen, and you'll find at least one drawer stuffed with odd-shaped tools, apple slicers, avocado pitters, banana holders, even a strawberry stem remover. At the time of purchase, they each seemed helpful. But how often do we actually use them? More often than not, they get buried under everyday essentials and forgotten. I remember buying a cherry pitter once. Used it twice then, back to using a small knife. For most of us, a good chef's knife, a wooden spoon, and a reliable cutting board can handle nearly every task. If arthritis or grip strength is a concern, one or two ergonomic tools can truly help. But that doesn't mean you need a drawer full. Let's simplify. Keep what you use every week. Let go of what only looked clever in the store. Take a quiet walk through your home and really notice how your furniture serves you. Is that side table by the door still useful? Or has it become a catch-all for mail you don't open? Does that extra armchair in the corner bring comfort? Or does it just make vacuuming harder? As we age, every inch of our home should support ease and movement. I once had a lovely decorative bench in my hallway. It looked charming, but every time I passed it, I'd bump my cane against it. One day I moved it out, and suddenly I felt lighter. When your space opens up, your body relaxes. Instead of crowding our homes with unused furniture, we can curate each room like a favorite book, filled only with things we love, things that serve us, things that make us feel safe. That doesn't mean your home should feel empty. It means each piece should earn its place. A recliner you love, a sturdy table you use daily, a cozy chair by the window, these are the pieces that carry meaning. The rest, let them go. Give them a new home where they can actually be used and appreciated. What you remove can sometimes bring more peace than what you add. For years, I kept buying bargain pans, the kind that look shiny and affordable, but warp after a few months. I convinced myself it was smart frugality. But over time, I replaced those flimsy pans again and again, pouring more money into the same frustration. It wasn't until I invested in a single, heavy-bottomed stainless steel skillet that I realized quality pays for itself. As we get older, cooking should feel simple and pleasant, not a daily reminder of tools that don't work. One well-made saucepan, a cast iron skillet, and a dependable frying pan can handle almost any meal. These aren't luxury items, they're investments in ease, safety, and joy. And if you're worried about the price tag, don't forget about thrift stores, estate sales, or seasonal discounts. I once found a Le Creuset pot for under $20 at a church rummage sale, nearly new. And it still sits proudly on my stove today. Quality cookware not only lasts, it performs better and feels better in your hands. So if your cabinet is full of scratched non-stick pans and wobbly pots, ask yourself, am I saving money or just prolonging the problem? Cooking is a daily ritual. Let's make it one that brings satisfaction, not stress. Books have a special way of making a home feel warm. A full bookshelf can feel like a badge of honor, stories read, wisdom gathered. But over time, those shelves grow heavy. I once had 3 full bookcases in my living room, overflowing with novels I hadn't touched in decades, cookbooks I never opened, and reference guides made obsolete by Google. Dusting them became a chore. And truthfully, just looking at them, made me feel overwhelmed rather than inspired. So I made a gentle decision: keep only the books that truly mean something, the ones I reread, or that spark joy every time I see them. The rest I donated to a local community centre, where they now have a second life. These days, I read almost entirely on a Kindle. It's light, easy to hold, and lets me adjust the font for my eyes. When I find a new recipe or a good read, it doesn't take up space on a shelf. For those of us with arthritis, vision changes, or smaller living spaces, digital reading is a gift. But even if you love paper books, consider trimming the collection. A few cherished volumes will feel more meaningful than shelves of forgotten spines. There was a time when I always had a cupboard filled with chips, crackers, granola bars, and little sugary treats. They felt convenient, easy to grab, easy to store. But here's what I noticed: they disappeared quickly, cost more than I thought, and left me feeling tired or bloated. Worse, those colourful bags created a messy, crinkly pantry that was hard to keep tidy. So I made a shift, not drastic, just thoughtful. I started keeping a small jar of almonds on the counter, a bowl of fresh fruit within reach, and veggie sticks in the fridge. Suddenly, my snacks were nourishing and satisfying. I still enjoy a treat now and then, but it's no longer my daily go-to. Processed snacks aren't just empty calories, they're expensive clutter. They lure us with promises of convenience, but deliver very little in return. One friend told me she replaced her mid-afternoon cookie habit with a few slices of apple and peanut butter. "It tastes better," she said, and my sugar crashes disappeared. When we nourish our bodies with real food, we don't just save money, we feel better in our skin. And isn't that what truly matters after 60? There was a time when I always had a cupboard filled with chips, crackers, granola bars, and little sugary treats. They felt convenient, easy to grab, easy to store. But here's what I noticed: they disappeared quickly, cost more than I thought, and left me feeling tired or bloated. Worse, those colourful bags created a messy, crinkly pantry that was hard to keep tidy. So I made a shift, not drastic, just thoughtful. I started keeping a small jar of almonds on the counter, a bowl of fresh fruit within reach, and veggie sticks in the fridge. Suddenly, my snacks were nourishing and satisfying. I still enjoy a treat now and then, but it's no longer my daily go-to. Processed snacks aren't just empty calories, they're expensive clutter. They lure us with promises of convenience, but deliver very little in return. One friend told me she replaced her mid-afternoon cookie habit with a few slices of apple and peanut butter. "It tastes better," she said, and my sugar crashes disappeared. When we nourish our bodies with real food, we don't just save money, we feel better in our skin. And isn't that what truly matters after 60? It's easy to fall in love with home decor, little figurines, seasonal signs, trays, candles, picture frames, and colourful wall art. They promise to make our homes feel warm and stylish. But over the years, these small additions can quietly pile up until every surface feels crowded, every shelf dusty, and every room slightly overwhelming. I used to decorate for every holiday pillows, for Valentine's Day wreaths, for spring centerpieces, for fall. It was fun for a while, until it became a chore, storing, rotating, cleaning, and eventually forgetting why I bought half of it. One day, I stood in my living room and asked, what here still brings me joy? I kept a single vase that belonged to my grandmother, one painting I truly love, and a candle that reminds me to slow down. Everything else I let go. A calm space isn't created by things, it's created by meaning. When you walk into your home, it should feel like a breath of fresh air, not a to-do list. So next time you pick up a new decoration in the store, pause and ask, will this make my life better? Or just busier? Open your closet. What do you see? For many of us, it's a mix of memories, someday outfits, and impulse buys that never felt quite right. I used to have a whole section of my closet devoted to clothes I hoped I'd fit into again. blazers from my old job cocktail dresses for events I no longer attend. Shoes that looked great but hurt after 10 minutes. Every morning, I'd push past these clothes just to reach my favorite sweater and stretch pants. And that's when it hit me I was organizing my life around who I used to be, not who I am now. After 60, comfort and confidence should guide every clothing choice. I started donating the items that didn't serve me anymore. Suddenly, my closet felt spacious. Getting dressed became easier and even joyful. Keep what fits well, feels good, and suits your real life, not your fantasy life. Whether it's gardening, walking the dog, or meeting friends for lunch, your wardrobe should reflect your present, not your past. A comfortable pair of jeans, supportive walking shoes, a cardigan you love, those are the pieces that matter now. We've all seen them kitchen towels with pumpkins for October, hearts for February, or bunnies in springtime. They're cute, they're festive, and they're often poor quality. After just a few washes, the colors fade, the fabric shrinks, and suddenly your seasonal joy becomes drawer clutter. I used to collect them, one for every holiday. But the more I owned, the less I used each one. Meanwhile, my trusty neutral towels, the ones I reached for every day, stayed folded and ready. That's when I realized I don't need a towel for every season. I just need a few that work year-round. I now keep a set of white and beige cotton towels that are absorbent, easy to clean, and match any kitchen mood. If I want a pop of color, I use a decorative bowl or a fresh flower on the counter. No need to cycle through dozens of novelty prints. Fewer towels mean less laundry, less drawer chaos, and more simplicity. And let's be honest, no one ever walked into a kitchen and said, "Wow, your turkey-themed towel made my day." Let function lead. Let go of the fluff. When we care about our health, and most of us do after 60, it's tempting to buy every tool that promises to track, monitor, or improve something. A pulse oximeter, a fancy blood pressure machine with Bluetooth, a step tracker with daily goals, even an electric foot massager. I've owned them all. But after the initial excitement faded, most ended up unused in a drawer. The truth is, if a device isn't simple and easy to use regularly, it becomes more burden than blessing. For example, I had a fitness tracker that buzzed constantly, demanding movement syncing issues and app updates. It wore me out more than it helped. I replaced it with a basic pedometer, and I've actually used it. These days, my health tools are few: a straightforward blood pressure monitor, a pill organizer I refill once a week, and a thermometer I trust. That's it. Fewer devices, less frustration. And if I ever need something more advanced, my doctor's office has it. Before buying a new gadget, ask, will I use this every week? Does it make my life easier or more complicated? Simplifying your health routine doesn't mean neglecting it. It means making it sustainable, comfortable, and clear. At first, buying bottled water seems like a harmless convenience. It's portable, pure, and always on hand. But after 60, every dollar and every decision matters. One day, I realized how often I was buying bottled water week after week. Cases piling into the shopping cart, bottles piling into the recycling bin. It didn't just cost money, it cluttered my kitchen and weighed me down. That's when I bought a simple, reusable water bottle, stainless steel with a handle. I filled it with filtered tap water each morning and never looked back. Over the past year, I've saved hundreds of dollars and avoided adding to landfill waste. If taste is an issue, a small water filter pitcher or faucet attachment can help. Many cities already have excellent tap water, and even in areas with poor taste, it's still cheaper and more eco-friendly to filter at home. Keep one bottle by your bed, one in your bag, and one in the kitchen. Suddenly, hydration becomes a habit, not a purchase. It's a small change that makes a big impact. Let's not pay for something we already have in abundance, especially when the alternative is better for our health, our budget, and the planet. There was a time I thought storage bins were the answer to everything. Clear ones, woven ones, collapsible ones, I bought them all. My hope that if I could just contain the clutter, my home would feel peaceful again. But here's the hard truth I learned. Buying more storage doesn't fix clutter, it hides it. I had bins full of forgotten scarves, duplicate holiday napkins, and someday crafting supplies. The bins were labelled and stacked neatly, but inside things I didn't need use or even remember. Eventually, I stopped organising and started letting go. I donated what I hadn't touched in a year and repurposed the bins I truly needed for seasonal linens or emergency supplies. Now, instead of a wall of plastic, I have clear shelves and breathing space. The goal isn't prettier storage, it's fewer things. Before you buy another bin, ask, am I organising or just postponing a decision? Declutter first. Keep only what you love or use regularly. Then, and only then, should you find a proper home for it. Simplicity doesn't come from better containers. It comes from learning to need and want less. Every December, I'd find myself picking up festive paper plates, plastic cups with snowflakes, and novelty napkins with tiny Santas. They were cute, they were convenient, and by January, they were all in the trash. At first, I told myself it saved time, no dishes, to wash, no clean-up. But over the years, I realized it cost me more than money. It created waste, cluttered my cabinets, and left no memory behind. So I made a change. I invested in one set of simple white ceramic plates and a few cloth napkins in red, green, and gold. These worked beautifully for any holiday and made every meal feel more special. For gatherings, I asked guests to help rinse and load the dishwasher. It turned out to be faster than throwing everything away, and it brought a little togetherness to the end of each celebration. These days, I skip the seasonal disposables. My home feels calmer, my budget happier, and my table more meaningful. And when I host, it's not the paper plates people remember, it's the stories, the laughter, the warmth. That's what holidays are for. Not for throwing away what we buy, but for holding close what we share. There's something sweet about a handwritten card, a message tucked inside a birthday envelope or sent during the holidays. But when you step back, you might realize how quickly the cost adds up. $4 here, $6 there, multiplied by every occasion in a year. And what happens after most cards end up in drawers forgotten or tossed away? I used to buy cards out of habit. One day I opened a box in my closet and found dozens years old yellowing and unread. That's when I decided to do something more personal. I started writing short letters on simple stationery I already had memories, blessings, words from the heart. I mailed one to my sister on her birthday, and she called me in tears. This, she said, I'm keeping forever. If you're comfortable with technology, a heartfelt email or digital card can be just as meaningful and costs nothing. But even a short note on recycled paper can mean more than a glitter-covered greeting from the store. The beauty of aging is that we begin to value sincerity over style. So next time you reach for a pricey card, pause. Maybe what your loved one needs most isn't a poem from a stranger, but a few honest words from you. Technology can be a gift when it works for us. But too often, I've bought electronics that promised convenience and delivered only frustration. A smart thermostat I could never program. A tablet that sat unused because it needed constant updates. A voice assistant that answered everyone's question but mine. These devices were supposed to make life easier, but instead, they cluttered my shelves and complicated my days. Eventually, I asked myself, what do I actually use? The answer was simple. A basic smartphone with big text and easy apps. A TV remote with real buttons, not an app. And a digital photo frame I update with a USB stick, not the cloud. That's it. I let go of the rest. I stopped chasing the newest gadget, and I started embracing what actually works. If a device needs hours to set up, if it demands constant charging, Or if you need a grandchild to explain it, maybe it's not worth keeping. Stick to tools that serve you, not the other way around. Less tech doesn't mean falling behind. It means choosing clarity over confusion, peace over pressure. Because the best technology, after all, is the kind you don't even notice. It just makes life smoother. Decorative pillows are charming in the store. Fluffy, colourful, often on sale in every shape and pattern. I used to have them everywhere on the couch, the guest bed, the reading nook. But eventually I noticed something. I spent more time moving them than enjoying them. Taking them off the bed each night, piling them on the floor during TV time, fluffing them just to make the room look finished. And don't get me started on washing the covers or trying to store seasonal ones. At some point I asked myself, who am I keeping these for? The answer wasn't me, so I pared down. I kept 2 lumbar pillows on the sofa that actually support my back. I gave away the rest. My space opened up. My routine simplified. And my home still felt just as cozy, maybe even more so. The truth is, the right pillow isn't just pretty, it's functional. It helps you sit more comfortably or rest more deeply. Everything else. It's decoration that demands attention, but gives little in return. So if you're constantly shifting, stacking, or storing extra pillows, it might be time to let a few go. Your home and your back will thank you. When I first retired, I thought a home gym was the secret to staying fit. I bought a treadmill, resistance machines, even a recumbent bike. But weeks went by, then months, and the equipment turned into a glorified coat rack. It wasn't that I didn't want to stay active. It was that the machines were bulky, boring, and honestly intimidating. One day, I unplugged the treadmill and listed it online. It sold in a day. With that money, I bought a pair of good walking shoes and a set of resistance bands. And just like that, I started moving again, not in the basement, but outside. A walk around the block, gentle stretching on the patio, even light yoga with a neighbor. No clutter, no guilt, no dust-covered machines staring me down. The best part, I felt better not just physically but mentally. Exercise doesn't have to mean equipment. It can mean joy. It can mean freedom. If you have machines you never use, don't let them haunt you. Let them go. Create space for movement that actually fits your life. Because health isn't about having the most gear, it's about finding the rhythm that keeps you going simply and happily. Word count 250. At one point I had 2 toasters, a backup blender, 3 coffee makers. Yes, 3. I told myself it was smart to have extras just in case. But what actually happened? My cabinets were full, my counters cluttered, and half of those machines never saw daylight. One morning, I looked around and realized I don't run a cafe, I'm one person. I make 1 cup of coffee, 1 smoothie, and toast 2 slices of bread at a time. So I chose the appliances I actually liked, using the ones that worked reliably, and donated the rest. My kitchen instantly felt more spacious. And funny enough, I never missed a single backup. If something breaks, I can always borrow or replace it, then not hoard in fear. Having duplicates might feel like preparedness, but often it's just postponed decision-making. You don't need 3 gadgets to do one job. You need one that does it well. So take a moment, open those cabinets, and ask yourself, am I using this, or am I just keeping it because I bought it? Let go of the extras. You'll gain space, clarity, and a kitchen that truly supports your day, not overwhelms it. There was a time when I couldn't resist the aisle of phone cases, colourful earbuds, portable chargers, and little clip-on lights for selfies. They were affordable fun and promised to make life a little easier, or at least a little trendier. But after a while, I noticed a pattern. The phone case chipped. The novelty charger broke. The earbuds tangled beyond repair. And all these things ended up in drawers, never to be used again. I was buying excitement, not longevity. Eventually, I made a shift. I bought 1 sturdy, neutral phone case that felt good in my hand. one long, tangle-free charging cable, and a single pair of wireless earbuds that fit comfortably and lasted. That's all I needed. The rest, just clutter disguised as convenience. Technology should support your life, not constantly demand replacements. If you find yourself buying yet another cable, another stand, another clip-on gadget, pause and ask, will this still be useful a year from now? Or is it just another thing I'll throw out when I upgrade my phone? Choosing timeless quality accessories isn't boring, it's wise. And it saves you more money and drawer space than you think. We've all seen the deals: giant bags of rice, massive tubs of peanut butter, and cases of soup stacked high. It feels smart to stock up, especially when prices seem to rise every week. But here's the truth: buying in bulk only saves money if you actually use the items before they expire. I once bought a £10 bag of oatmeal, thinking I'd eat it every morning. A year later, it was still sitting in the pantry, stale and forgotten. After 60, our appetites change. So do our routines. These days, I buy smaller portions of fresh foods I love and eat often. My pantry is neater, my meals are simpler, and I waste far less. If you live alone or with one other person, giant packages often create more stress than savings, taking up space and making you feel guilty when things spoil. Try shopping with intention instead. Plan for the week. Buy just enough. And if you really want that family-size item, split it with a neighbor or adult child. Bulk groceries can be a blessing, but only if they match your actual lifestyle, not the one you imagine. Less waste, more peace. I used to open the cabinet under my sink and be greeted by a small army of bottles, one for glass, one for granite, one for stainless steel, one just for stovetops. Each promised to be the best for a single job. But together, they created clutter confusion and a few unpleasant chemical smells. One day, I asked myself, do I really need 5 different sprays to clean one kitchen? That's when I switched to basics: white vinegar, baking soda, and a gentle all-purpose cleaner. Add a few microfiber cloths, and suddenly I could clean almost anything with fewer steps and zero overwhelm. My home didn't just get cleaner, it got quieter. I didn't have to think so hard about what product to grab or worry about inhaling something harsh. The truth is, most specialty cleaners are more about marketing than necessity. For example, I now use vinegar water mix on glass and countertops, and it works just as well as the pricey stuff. Simplifying your cleaning products doesn't mean lowering your standards. It means trusting in the power of a few effective, safe, and affordable tools. So if your cabinet is bursting with barely used bottles, it might be time to clean house literally and figuratively. Let's talk about those shoes. The ones with sparkles you wore once at Christmas, the strappy sandals that pinch your toes, or the pastel flats that only match one outfit. They seemed like a good idea at the time. But now, they sit on the closet floor, untouched, collecting dust. I used to keep a whole bin of special occasion shoes, but after years of not wearing them, I realized they were just taking up space and making it harder to find the ones I actually needed. So I donated them one pair at a time. In their place, I now have a few versatile, comfortable pairs that work all year long. Neutral walking shoes with support, classic loafers, a simple black pair for dressier moments. That's it. When it gets cold, I add wool insoles. When it rains, I use a protective spray. Accessories adapt my shoes without needing more of them. The truth is, at this stage of life, comfort and stability matter far more than fashion trends. The right pair of shoes should make you feel secure, not self-conscious. Let go of what doesn't serve you. Your feet and your closet deserve relief. I used to be drawn to cookbooks like a moth to flame. The glossy covers, the promises of restaurant-quality meals at home. It was easy to justify adding just one more to the shelf. But over time, those books became more decor than resource. I realized I was only using 1 or 2 recipes from each, and many called for ingredients I didn't have, or steps I didn't want to follow. Eventually, I let most of them go. I kept a small binder of handwritten favorites, simple, nourishing meals I actually cook. And when I'm feeling adventurous, I look up recipes online, tailored to what's already in my pantry. One friend keeps a tiny recipe journal filled with family dishes and memories. It's not just practical, it's personal. If you truly love a cookbook, by all means, keep it. But ask yourself, is this inspiring me or overwhelming me? Am I holding on to it for the food or for the fantasy? A tidy shelf of tried and true recipes is far more comforting than a heavy row of untouched tomes. Cooking at our age should feel joyful, not exhausting. Simplify your recipe shelf, and you'll find your kitchen and your meals lighter too. Now let's talk about something that sneaks up on most of us duplicates. How many white blouses, black slacks, or just-in-case cardigans do you really need? Over time, we buy extras for convenience out of habit, or because we simply forgot we already had something similar. But before we know it, our closets are overflowing with 5 versions of the same item, and we still reach for our one favorite over and over. My neighbor Judy had 8 nearly identical long-sleeved tops in varying shades of beige. When I asked her why, she laughed and said, "Every time I couldn't find the one I liked, I just bought another." Sound familiar? When we're busy or tired, or when our closet is cluttered, it's hard to see what we actually own. Duplicates create decision fatigue and steal precious time from our mornings. Take a moment to ask yourself, which pieces do I actually wear? Which ones do I always skip over? Set aside everything you haven't reached for in months and compare your duplicates. Often there's one that's softer, fits better, or simply feels more you. That's the one to keep. The rest, let them find a new home where they can be appreciated and used. Simplifying doesn't mean you have to live with the bare minimum, it just means curating with intention. When your wardrobe holds fewer pieces, but each one brings comfort or confidence, you gain back control. It's no longer about having more. It's about loving what you already have. And here's a bonus. Duplicates are easy to donate. They're usually in good condition, barely worn, and perfect for someone building a new wardrobe on a budget. You're not just decluttering, you're quietly blessing someone else's life. Let's trade quantity for clarity. A closet filled with trusted favorites is one of the simplest joys you can give yourself at this stage of life. As we age, we begin to see our homes and our habits with new eyes. What once felt useful may now feel heavy. What once promised joy may now take up space, money, and peace of mind. But here's the beautiful part. Every drawer cleared, every shelf simplified, every purchase rethought, it all brings us closer to a life that truly fits. Letting go isn't about loss. It's about freedom. Freedom from the stress of too many choices, the weight of unused things, the pressure to keep up with trends. When we choose only what supports us, what comforts us, we create space not just in our homes, but in our hearts. So whether it's a cluttered closet, a forgotten gadget, or a habit that no longer serves you, give yourself permission to release it. This is your season to live lighter, calmer, and more intentionally. If today's reflection stirred something in you, I invite you to take one small step. Clear one drawer, gift one item, question one purchase. And if this video brought you peace or encouragement, I hope you'll join us again. Together, we can keep building homes and lives filled with only what truly matters.